Can you be poor and be an artist? It's an interesting question to ask. Can you hone your skill, afford your equipment, spend all that time practicing, and not have a stable income? Is that why rich people dominate the creative fields? Let's talk more about that. But before this, welcome back to Daimoni. I watched a video titled "The Arts Was Always a Rich Person Hobby," where she argues that the art has always been for the rich. Now, this may seem harsh, but let me explain. In the video, she showed a TikToker going on a writer's retreat in Paris, and someone commented, "You must come from a lot of money." And yeah, she probably did, yeah. This topic has been on my mind for a while now, and looking back, it has been something I was really thinking about sort of early 2026. I was reminded of it after watching this video. But the question is, why do rich people dominate the creative fields? The answer to that is actually pretty simple: because they have the means to do so. It can be very difficult to come to terms with it, but the vast majority of people who make it in creative fields are usually from wealthier backgrounds. In order to understand this a little bit more, we have to deconstruct this a little bit, where we kind of need to understand sort of the way that the economy works. I have an economic degree, so I actually learned sort of in details about how this shit works and how extremely wealthy people are usually already extremely well off as is before becoming extremely wealthy. The reason why is because you get the best education possible. You have the means to get extra help and tutoring if necessary. It means you get to go to the best universities because of legacy admissions. And while you're there, you mingle with other rich people that will make sure that you get the highest paying job the minute you graduate. You see, a rich person making it is not an amazing feat, it's just the rite of passage. Creative fields are very similar. In fact, these fields sort of show the contrast of how wealth inequality plays a role in someone's life. Creative fields require a lot of practice and countless hours of work. A lot of creative fields require time, right? And time is a very scarce resource. A lot of people think that we all have the same 24 hours, which is something we talked about on the internet quite a bit, but it's actually the exact opposite. Some people have more time in a day than others, and I'll explain that. Let's say you have a housekeeper, and the housekeeper takes care of all the chores. Then you have more time for yourself because you don't have to spend a lot of time doing chores, right? So you can take that time and work on yourself. That's why working husbands have more time than working wives, because on average, women take on more household chores than men do, even when they do work, and that causes them to have less and less time for themselves. People from wealthier backgrounds, on the other hand, do not have that conundrum. They have the capacity of getting help, getting someone to cook and clean from them, to do everything they need to do so that they can focus and have more time on themselves and their lives and their jobs. People from other backgrounds do not have that privilege, so they have less time in a day as is. That means less time to practice, less time to write, to contemplate, to get inspiration, to work on your art. Another major thing is stable income. Many people who are from lesser backgrounds need a stable income in order to be able to make it in creative fields. There are many people out there who are super creative, who have the talent, but are unable to pursue it because they do not have the means to stop working their job and focus solely on their creative outputs. Wealthier people, on the other hand, do not have this issue. They have family members that can cover their expense, or they could have a trust fund, meaning that they can take on more risk. They don't have to worry about constantly having a stable income. Also, often in this day and age, to make it as an artist, it means you have to also be a content creator. Social media platforms require consistency, and it's so hard to do that with art, because does that mean you constantly have to be putting out art, which takes a lot of time and effort? Producing a new thing every single week is difficult, and if you don't do that, you're doomed by the algorithm, which adds even more stress onto the artist. We don't have the capacity to do that because we as is have less time. Also have to do, as I established, our chores and other things that we need to do in order to take care of ourselves. And then we also have to keep up with trends, produce content for the internet, and also hone your skills, practice, and do everything you need to do in order to produce art. It's basically practically impossible. Wealthy people, on the other hand, have more chances. Since they do have time, they can spend a lot of time making content for social media and building their presence while also working on their art. This is actually exactly what Virginia Woolf was talking about in her book, A Room of One's Own. Now, this book is essentially a collection of essays that discusses women in creative fields and why, at that time, no longer the case, women were less published writers than men. And in this book, she argues the reason why is because women are not given the space to do so. A room of one's own, a room where women can be alone, can contemplate, think, write, practice. Women are the ones who constantly have to put in time at home, and they don't necessarily have time for themselves. Woolf argues that also, on average, women are poorer, which is statistically true. And because of that, they have less time for themselves in order to work on their art. In fact, she argues that this is not just women. In this book, she quotes the author Sir Arthur Quiller Coach, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, where he was looking at different very prominent writers, male writers, and seeing which one came from a non-wealthy background. And he discovered not one, okay? Imagine that. He writes, "These are dreadful facts, but let us face them. It is, however, dishonoring to us as a nation, certain that, by some fault in our commonwealth, the poor poet has not in these days, nor has had for 200 years, a dog's chance. Believe me, and I have spent a great part of 10 years in watching some 320 elementary schools. We may parade of democracy, but actually, a poor child in England has little more hope than the son of an Athenian slave to be emancipated into the intellectual freedom of which great writings are born." She continues, "That's it. Intellectual freedom depends on material things. Poetry depends upon intellectual freedom, and women have always been poor, not for 200 years merely, but from the beginning of time. Women have less intellectual freedom than the sons of an Athenian slave. Women have not had a dog's chance of writing poetry. That is why I have laid so much stress on money and a room of one's own." Now, this may be disheartening a little bit, but I do think that Virginia have actually captured it pretty well. Capitalism allows it so that only the rich have the capacity to contemplate, write, and work on creative things. Art is preserved to the rich. Your art is more likely to be taken seriously if you are rich. You're more likely to have chances to prosper if you are rich. People of less wealthy backgrounds are not given the same opportunities. This also reminds me of a book that I'm currently reading called My Brilliant Friend, that follows the lives of two best friends in working class neighborhood in Naples, Italy. I hope I'm saying it correct. Naples? Yes, I think so. One of the best friends, Lela, is incredibly, in fact, both of them are really smart, but one of them is incredibly smart. She picked up languages immediately. When doing competitions in school, she would win over people from even like higher grades than her. But when she finally reached middle school, she could not attend because her parents did not have the means to send her into middle school. Despite being this insanely good kid, very smart, obsessed with books, wants to write a book herself, she was not given the chance to grow her abilities purely because she was not rich enough to do so. In fact, when her other best friend, Elena, continues to go to school, her parents allow her. When she would talk about writing or have her like read her essays or whatever to give her opinion because someone that she looks up to, intellectually, right? She did not like that because it hurt her. She would feel sad and upset, and it would hurt her because she wasn't given the chance to do that at school, and she didn't want to do that with her friend because she felt sad that she herself was not given that chance. But think about it, like how many Lelas are out there unable to live the lives that they want and share their amazing talent and their amazing art, but they don't have the means to do so, so they just can't. And this is what the system has done. It has only allowed these things to happen to people from privileged backgrounds. And yeah, that's why the rich tend to dominate the arts. What can we do about that? Now, it's usually just, for now, I think it's mostly organization. political organization, working on decreasing working hours, increasing the weekends, like having it be 3 days. I think it's definitely help people give more people time for themselves. Decentering work from our lives is also an important step into giving people time to grow their talents and hobbies and their art. Also, another major one is by pushing our politicians to increase funding in arts and programs to allow people of all backgrounds to be able to have the chance to grow themselves in creative fields. I also want to think, do you guys think that that's the case? I was looking back at it, I was trying to what was an artist that was poor and is extremely big, and I cannot really think of a lot right now. I do think that the internet has definitely provided a lot of chances and opportunities for people are not as rich, chances to basically share their art and grow as artists. But also that means having not just the art you have to do, but also the content creation part that you constantly have to do, which is not something that you may enjoy, but you're kind of forced to do it. But that's, I think, what it is you're forced to take on so much as a person in order to kind of make it in creative fields. But yeah, I was thinking about it, and I think maybe it was only 1 or 2 artists that I know of that were poor, which makes sense, honestly, statistically speaking, kind of makes sense. But yeah, it is something that unfortunately has kind of been preserved for the rich, sort of systematically as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that talking about these things help? Because I do see a lot of people you shouldn't say those things because it discourages people from trying. And I'm I do agree that we should push people to try, but it doesn't, having conversations about systematic issues like that is also very important in order to help people sort of know where to put their efforts, right? And also help push and advocate for a better system and a better life for everybody. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, this is all from me today. I will see you all in the next video, hopefully. And yeah, if you have any topics that you want me to talk about, please let me know down below. And yeah, that's all for me today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, I do this every time, but please like and subscribe. And leave me a little comment. That actually helps me quite a bit. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.